So yesterday in one of my discussion style classes as part of the honors college at the school I attend, our topic of discussion was widely rooted in the work of On Anger by Seneca. And if you have not experienced or read this, what I believe to be a letter pertaining to anger, first and foremost, I think you should. Seneca provides some very interesting perspectives and thoughts and ideas behind what he's saying. But if not, the main point behind Seneca's argument pertaining to anger is that anger should never be pursued. It should be absolutely abandoned, because his argument is that anger only ever leads to a net negative. His argument would be that anger is never actually necessary to achieve anything. As a matter of fact, he would say that our duties, our responsibilities, our virtues should be what spurs us on to complete a responsibility, as opposed to our anger spurring us on, because anger only results in a net negative. And I just thought he posed some really interesting ideas. Now, the interesting part about Seneca's work is the fact that he believes anger should be absolutely abandoned, that it holds no value whatsoever. And although I agree with, I would say, 99% of what Seneca is saying, it is precisely his absolutes that make it so hard to agree with him. Because I believe that so many of the emotions that humans are given reflect the emotions of God. The only issue is that in our fallen state, in our sin, our emotions are perverted. We can take an emotion like anger, which inherently in and of itself is not evil, and take it too far and apply it out of a heart of pride or a heart of pain or a heart of my own self-interest. And that's where anger is an issue. So anyway, our class discussion just got me thinking about the implications of anger in the Christian life, and whether or not it should be completely abandoned as Seneca claims it should be, or if it should be maintained and used like a tool. And I want to preface, before I give my conclusion, I'm just a college kid with some thoughts. And the reason I'm even proclaiming these ideas is hopefully to spark a discussion, to provide my ideas, and then maybe be able to grant you guys a platform to provide your ideas also. So the idea here is that we might sharpen one another. So anyway, with that being said, just take my ideas with a grain of salt. But regardless, the conclusion I came to was, although Seneca is right that anger so often leads to a net negative, I don't believe it should be completely abandoned. And here's why. I do believe that the anger of man does not produce the righteousness that God desires. And in our fallen nature, it is super difficult to demonstrate righteous anger. More often than not, we demonstrate a level of anger that is sinful out of a heart of pride or self-interest or whatever it may be. But the reality is, anger in itself is not sinful inherently. I think a good Bible verse is James chapter 1, verse 19. It says, "My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry." And then verse 20 says, "Because human anger does not produce the righteousness that God desires." Now I find verse 19 particularly interesting because it says slow to speak and slow to anger. Not that anger should be completely abandoned, but that we should be distinctly cautious about being angry, simply because, as verse 20 says, human anger does not produce the righteousness God desires. But godly anger does produce the righteousness God desires. I think another good example to look at is Jesus, when he was infiltrating, I suppose you could say, the temple. When he went into the temple, he saw that people were using this holy location for their own gain, for their own personal good, to sell things. And I think it's safe to say that Jesus demonstrated anger. I mean, he kicked everyone out of the temple, calling them a brood of vipers. And are we supposed to say that Christ's anger in that moment was a sin? I think absolutely not. I think in that moment, Christ demonstrates to us what righteous anger looks like and how it can be applied, and the reason we have anger in the first place. Essentially, what I'm getting at is this idea that, yes, I do agree with Seneca that so often anger leads to a fall, but it shouldn't be completely abandoned. And I think a good comparison one could make could be to artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is a tool designed to be used. And can it be used responsibly? By all means. But does the existence of the tool also grant an opportunity for it to be used irresponsibly? Of course it does. I mean, I'm a college student. I see so often people using artificial intelligence to just get their work done like that instead of actually learning for themselves. And with that being said, I don't believe that means that we should completely disregard artificial intelligence. Instead, we should learn to use it responsibly in the way that it was intended for good. And I think anger kind of holds this similar platform. I believe that it was given to us for a purpose, to spur us on to pursue righteousness and goodness. And even though we can pervert it, it shouldn't be completely abandoned. Rather, we should be weary to use it for its intended purposes, to spur us on towards the glory of the Lord. And yeah, I mean, that's really my thoughts to it. I appreciate you listening to me. I hope I posed some interesting ideas that maybe got your mind thinking. And yeah, if you have any ideas of yourself, please feel free to leave them down below. And I'd love to start a discussion and just hear what y'all have to say about all this. So anyway, yeah, thanks for joining me. God bless, brothers. I hope you have a fantastic day.